For months, detectives chased shadows, a missing wife, a husband accused, and a past that refused to stay buried. But when Claire Rowe and her ghost of a husband both resurfaced, the case took its darkest turn yet. The note said, "It ends where it started." And when investigators followed that message to the ruins of an old house on the outskirts of Ohio, what they uncovered didn't just solve the case. It changed how they saw every word, every lie, and every life tangled in its web. The address from the old letters was burned into Detective Laura Keene's mind. 174 Evergreen Lane, Greenville, Ohio. The house had been abandoned since the 2011 fire that killed Rebecca Danner, Claire's sister. Local officials had deemed the structure unstable, but Keene didn't care. She drove 5 hours through a gray, misted morning, sirens off, headlights cutting through fog. As the road narrowed, the forest swallowed the sun. And there it was, the skeletal remains of a house, blackened timbers still jutting through overgrown grass. Nature had taken it back. Tape from the original crime scene still clung to a fence post, bleached by time. For a long moment, Keene stood in silence. The air smelled faintly of ash and rain. If Claire was really here, this was where the nightmare had begun, and where, if her note was to be believed, she meant to end it. The Ohio records were thin. The fire report listed the cause as suspicious, likely arson. The only survivor was Miles Danner, who claimed to have been away when it happened. But neighbors had told a different story. Screams, smoke, a car speeding off into the night. Miles was questioned, released, and disappeared weeks later. The official story was that he died in a construction accident under an alias in Indiana. No body was ever confirmed. Now, after all these years, the man with the limp had returned, and Claire was walking straight back to him. Keene called for local backup, but the nearest units were 40 minutes away. Backslash. She didn't wait. With a flashlight in one hand and her weapon drawn, she stepped inside the ruins. The floor creaked beneath her. The walls whispered with wind. Then she saw it, faint light glowing from the back of the house. Someone was there. The beam of her flashlight caught two figures standing amid the wreckage. Claire and Miles. She looked older, thinner, her hair tangled, her clothes damp with rain. He was barely recognizable. A gaunt man in his 50s, his face scarred from the old fire, his limp more pronounced. His eyes, though, burned with the same intensity Keene had seen in the photos from years ago. "Claire," Keene called softly, lowering her weapon. "You don't have to do this." Miles turned first. "Detective," he rasped, "you shouldn't be here." Claire didn't move. She stood between them, trembling, her hands clenched. "It's over," Keene said. "We know who you are, Miles. We know what you did." He smiled, a hollow, joyless thing. "You don't know anything." Then he looked at Claire. Tell her what you did." Keene's brow furrowed. "What's he talking about, Claire?" But Claire said nothing. Her eyes glistened. Miles took a step forward, his limp dragging behind him. "You see, Detective, she's been running for 10 years. Not from me. From herself." Claire shook her head. "That's not true." "Then tell her," he growled. "Tell her what happened the night the house burned." Keene's pulse quickened. "Claire, what happened?" For a long moment, Claire said nothing. Then, through shaking breath, she spoke. "It wasn't Miles who started the fire." The words hit like a thunderclap. Keene blinked. "I don't understand." Claire's voice cracked. "I did." Miles laughed, a sound like gravel scraping metal. "There it is." "I didn't mean to." Claire cried. He hurt Rebecca. I just wanted to scare him. I wanted to make him leave. But the fire spread too fast. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Rebecca never made it out." Keene stood frozen. For years, everyone had assumed Claire was the victim, but she had been carrying the guilt of her sister's death all along. "That's why I ran," Claire whispered. "That's why I changed my name. I thought he died in the fire. I thought it was over." Miles' eyes gleamed in the dim light. "But it wasn't, was it?" Miles stepped closer to Claire, his voice low, venomous. "You left me for dead. You left her for dead. You took everything." Keene raised her gun. "Stop." He ignored her, staring only at Claire. "You burned that house down, and you built a new life, new name, new husband, new lies." Claire's knees buckled. "I never wanted to hurt anyone." Miles tilted his head. You think I spent 10 years chasing you for revenge? He smiled. No, I came back to finish what you started. Then he reached into his coat. Keen's training kicked in. Drop it, she shouted. But it wasn't a gun he pulled out. It was a matchbook. Old, worn, damp but still usable. From a gas can at his feet, the smell of fuel filled the air. Keen fired once, hitting the ground near his foot. Don't do this. Miles just smiled. It ends where it started. He struck the match. Flames erupted faster than Keen could react. The old wood, soaked for years, still carried the ghost of the last fire. Claire screamed as Miles staggered backward, laughter twisting into coughing. Keen lunged, grabbing Claire by the arm, pulling her through collapsing debris. Behind them, the fire swallowed Miles whole. The roof cracked. Smoke poured upward. Keen dragged Claire out into the rain-soaked yard, coughing, shaking, gasping for air. They collapsed beside her car, the light from the burning house painting the sky orange. Sirens wailed in the distance. Too late. When the blaze finally died down, search teams sifted through the ashes. They found 2 bodies. One was confirmed to be Miles Danner. The other was unidentifiable. At the hospital, Claire was treated for burns and smoke inhalation. But when Keen returned the next morning to take her statement, Claire was gone. No discharge, no note, no trace. Security footage showed her leaving the hospital alone just before dawn, wearing a borrowed coat. She hadn't been seen since. Keen stared at the screen, disbelief tightening her chest. Ow, she whispered. The nurse at the desk could only shrug. She said she needed some air. The next time anyone heard Claire's name, it wasn't from law enforcement. It was from a journalist. 3 weeks later, an investigative reporter uploaded a video to an independent channel titled, "The Brookhaven Files, The Woman Who Lived Twice." The video contained footage pulled from a newly created email link, sent anonymously. It showed a woman sitting in the passenger seat of a car, filming herself. Rain on the windows. A highway sign behind her read, "Now leaving Ohio." Her voice was quiet, trembling. "If you're seeing this, it means I'm gone again. Please don't look for me." The camera tilted slightly, revealing her face. It was Claire. "I try to build a life, but you can't bury the past. It finds you, even when you change your name. Ethan, if you see this, I'm sorry. You were the only one who really cared." She paused, tears glinting in her eyes. "But there's something you still don't know. Miles wasn't alone. Someone helped him find me. Someone who's still out there." Then the video cut to black. Detective Keen replayed that line over and over. "Someone helped him find me." She ordered digital forensics to track the email source. It had been sent from a library computer in a small town 2 states away. Surveillance footage showed a man at the terminal. Baseball cap, broad shoulders. But when they enhanced the image, it wasn't Miles Danner. It was Ethan Rowe. Keen's breath caught her throat. Had the husband she'd just freed been working with the man his wife feared most? The timeline didn't add up, but the evidence did. The IP address used to send the video matched Ethan's brother's apartment Wi-Fi. And the timestamp? 2 days after Claire disappeared from the hospital. Ethan had said he wanted closure. Maybe he had found it. Or maybe he had found her. Keen obtained a warrant to search Ethan's belongings again. Inside his duffel bag, she found something odd. A burned photo frame wrapped in cloth. Inside was a picture of him and Claire smiling by the lake. On the back, in faint handwriting, it read, "I forgive you." Next to it was a rental car receipt, time-stamped the day Claire vanished from the hospital. Destination, Greenville, Ohio. The same town where the house once stood. Keen's hand trembled. "No," she whispered. He wouldn't. But as she looked closer, another receipt slipped free for a hotel room booked under his name. The clerk confirmed he'd checked in alone. Or at least, that's what the records showed. Because on the room's door camera footage, the grainy image captured 2 shadows entering that night. One tall, one smaller, and neither ever checked out. For years, Brookhaven believed they knew who the villain was. Then they thought they'd found the truth. But the truth kept shifting, like smoke impossible to hold. Claire Rowe burned her past to escape it. Miles Danner burned to destroy it. And Ethan Rowe may have crossed a line no one saw coming. Now, both husband and wife are missing. And as detectives sift through the ashes of two fires, one thing becomes clear: the story isn't over. Because somewhere, on a forgotten road between Ohio and Pennsylvania, a single security camera will capture the final chapter, and what it reveals will leave every detective in Brookhaven silent. This was Trace Crime Files. Subscribe for more stories where truth is stranger than fiction, and justice is never as simple as it seems.